Hey guys, so this is my first YouTube video. So on my Instagram story, I had you guys ask questions, but a lot of them were kind of the same. So I decided that I would do what most of you asked questions about, which was how I found out I had cancer, what my emotions were, and like everything that led up to it. So that's what the video today is going to be about. Okay, so it all starts back in like the end of February. I was in basketball season and I just noticed that I kept getting sick. I kept getting coughs and colds and like temperatures and stuff, and they never seemed to go away. I would have it for 2 or 3 days and then a week later it would come back. And that was constantly, and I'm like, Mom, why do I keep getting sick? So yeah, that was kind of the first like weird signs. So yeah, all of that happened, and then one day I used this mirror to get my makeup done, and one day I don't even know how I saw it, but I saw my tonsil and it looked like this. Ew. And obviously right then and there I was freaking out because I had never seen my tonsils before then, and then to see it like that was just really creepy. So I went to the doctor and he thought it was just tonsil stones, which is like, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be, until it started to progress, and about 3 weeks later it looked like this. And that's when I knew something was wrong, because it was just had like weird things like poking out of it, and it was just so weird. And every night when I went to bed I couldn't even breathe, and it was terrible. And so I kept begging my parents to get me a doctor's appointment with an ENT doctor, I think it is. And so at that point it was like in the middle of March, and the appointment wasn't scheduled till about like April 16th or something. And I knew, like, I was googling stuff, I knew that I had cancer, and I just had like this feeling, I just knew. But my mom didn't believe me. She's like, no, you don't have cancer. And so we didn't get in like soon enough. Now I don't even know what I'm saying.
No, you're right on.
So we finally got the appointment booked earlier, and that was good because I did not want to wait till April 16th. But we went in and he took a look at my tonsil and was like, oh yeah, you're not messing around. And I looked at the nurse that was by him and she was like, and I literally just wanted to cry because I knew it was cancer. And so he's like, oh, okay, we'll get you in with the tonsillectomy on Thursday. And it was Tuesday, so that's just in 2 days. And normally I don't think tonsillectomies are that urgent, so yeah. So I had the tonsillectomy and it went really well. I didn't see anything that went wrong with it. And so yeah, I was content for the next couple of days. So this is the really terrible part. So on April 7th, which is my mom's birthday, sadly, I was just sitting at the table eating my breakfast. I believe it was Cheerios, I don't really know. But I was just sitting there and I looked at my mom in the living room and she was on the phone, and all of a sudden she just started crying, and I was like, Mom, like, it's your birthday, why are you crying? Well, that's what I thought. And I'm like, what's wrong? And then I was like, wait a second. And then I just started bawling my eyes out, and then she was bawling her eyes out. And my dad's like, what's going on? And I'm like, I have cancer, even though I didn't know for sure. But I knew I had cancer. And my mom's like, no, just like stop. And none of us knew what lymphoma was. Like, we're not familiar with any of those terms. By the way, that's my mom right there. Anyways, so yeah, that was probably the worst moment of my life so far. Cause like, you never think you're gonna be the one who has something like this happen to you, if that makes sense. So immediately I have all these thoughts rushing in my head, but the first thought was, am I gonna lose my hair? Cause literally my hair is like, it was my most prized possession. I loved my hair so much, and all my friends know that because I can never stop playing with it during class. Anyways, besides that, we went to the hospital right away, and my grandparents were in town and they helped me a lot to get through it, so that was really nice. We went to the hospital and I sat in this chair, and the doctor came in and he told us everything that was happening, and I was diagnosed with B-cell non-hodgkins lymphoma. And I was crying. Who doesn't cry? I mean, really. And they told me that, I asked and I was like, am I gonna lose my hair, or can I try like cold caps or something that can help? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, like with your type, nothing can really save your hair. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is the worst day of my life. I'm losing my hair and I'm like, no one's gonna like me, I'm gonna be weird, and no one's gonna want to be around me anymore. And it was just all these terrible thoughts that just came to my head. And like now I don't care. Like there's so much more to life than hair. I mean, really. So we went to the hospital and I got an IV, and they're gonna test my blood to make sure that the cancer wasn't anywhere in my bloodstream, because if it was, that would have made it so much worse than it is. And obviously it wasn't in my bloodstream, which is so good, and I'm so grateful for that. So after that, 3 days later, I think that Wednesday, we went to Primary Children's. I got my PET scan, and my PET scan results came back, and my cancer didn't spread anywhere in my body, so it was only locally in my throat, and I think. So that was also another great blessing. I also, before I went up for that, I forgot to mention, no, before I went up for my first like big dose of chemo, I had so many visitors and people bringing me gifts, and like people I never really talked to were reaching out, and that's awesome because like it's been nice to be able to make a lot of new friends. Anyway, so I went up for my first big dose of chemo, and to be honest, the hospital stays really aren't that bad. The only really bad things about it is that I get super bored. I'm laying in bed all day, and I love exercising, so that's really hard for me. And that they wake me up like 7 times in the middle of the night to take my blood pressure and to draw labs from my port, and yeah, it's just a lot. And I realize probably a lot of you don't know what a port is. So it's basically something that they insert in you, so that, and they like jab a needle into it every time you have to get labs, which is when they draw your blood and stuff. It's just like to make it so that you don't have to get IVs every single time. At least that's what I think. So yeah. So anyway, the first big dose was done, and I went home for recovery. Now that was definitely the most sick I've ever been in my entire life. Every single day for 2 weeks straight, which is like 24 hours a day for 2 weeks straight. I was throwing up, I couldn't sleep, I had the worst headaches. It was also hard because school was ending and summer was starting, and this is a time when like school's actually kind of fun, and I felt like I was missing out on all the events, and I felt like I just couldn't go outside at all, and I really couldn't. I would try and walk a block and I couldn't, so I started going in a wheelchair, which was nice. But yeah, it was just really, really tough. That leads to one of the biggest questions I get, which is how I stay so positive about all of what's going on. And first let me clarify, it's not all positive at all. In fact, I cry a lot, my family cries a lot. There's actually a lot of hard things about this. I just mostly choose not to share it because I like to be positive, and I know that it can help others to be positive about things, but it also helps myself. So even through all those hard times, I try to get a positive outlook out of it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that recovery was pretty awful. And then I came up for round 2 big dose, and that was the one I just barely had. And the recovery was so much better. I got a feeding tube, and everything was just so much better. I was able to go to school and sign yearbooks, and that meant so much to me. So yeah, and now I'm here. My 3rd round, and I'm getting so close, and I can't wait to be done. So yeah, that is how I found out I had cancer, the story leading up to it, and where I am now. Upcoming videos, you can expect maybe like hospital room tour, maybe. I will be answering those questions that you guys asked, for sure. And definitely, I will be doing a whole video on shaving my head and cutting my hair, and all the emotions that came with that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!